Yeah, so let me just say, obviously we decided to come to the cross-state rivalry game because it's such a big North Carolina institution, and we're glad that we did it. Met a lot of good people, talked to a lot of good people, and just tried to remind people they have to get out there and vote, because we'll obviously win Eastern Carolina. We'll do very well in the rural part of the state. We just want to remind people to actually get out there, make sure their voices are heard, because the only way we lose this race is if people don't turn out. So that's why I was here. We had a good time. We met a couple of friends, and it was good to have my wife with me, because it's always fun to hang out with Usha. So here we are. Anyway, let's take a few questions just from the local reporters.
Talk about your time here in Greenville today. How was it? Talk about any highlights from the trip.
Yeah, so I actually, because I served at Cherry Point, I spent a fair amount of time in Greenville, and I think I've actually been to the bar we were at many times earlier in my life, so that was a personal highlight to me, just to show my wife some of the old haunting grounds from when I was in the Marine Corps. But love this area, love its people, and just had a lot of good conversations. That was also another highlight.
How crucial is North Carolina in the past for 270 for you guys?
Well, look, I mean, if you just look at the Electoral College math, it's very, very hard for us not to win, or it's very hard for us to win unless we're able to get North Carolina. I feel very good about it. I talked to a lot of local congressmen, the state chair, and look, we feel like we're in a very good place here in North Carolina. We just have to make sure we show up, we turn out our voters, and we do what we need to do. I mean, look, the message here is pretty straightforward. Kamala Harris's policies have failed North Carolina. They failed the whole country. We are not going to get the change that this country needs. We're not going to lower inflation or secure the border if you have Kamala Harris doing exactly what she's already done for another 4 years.
What do you have to say to legal immigrants who may be facing backlash based on some of your comments that you made?
Well, look, I mean, I'm married to the daughter of legal immigrants, and I think it's important that we welcome everybody in this country, but only people who have the right to be here, and importantly, only people who actually enrich the United States of America. We've unfortunately, under Kamala Harris's open border, which includes granting amnesty, mass parole to a large number of illegal immigrants, and making them legal, but not actually making them part of the American community, is, look, we have communities that have been overwhelmed by this massive inflow of immigration. We have a lot of people who are dying of fentanyl overdoses. We have a lot of people who can't afford to buy a house because they're competing with people who shouldn't be here for scarce homes. This has got to change. And look, we can be welcoming as a country, but we also have to have leadership that actually prioritizes a secure border and prioritizes the citizens who have every right to be here.
Anything you want to say to undecided voters?
I'm sorry?
Anything you want to say to undecided voters?
Well, I think that what I'd say to undecided voters is you're hearing a lot from Kamala Harris's campaign about how she represents change. But Kamala Harris is the sitting vice president. She doesn't represent change. She represents more of the change. And if you want to get back, or excuse me, she represents more of the same. So if we want to go back to policies that lower inflation, that allow young Americans to buy a home, that secure that southern border, Donald Trump is the only candidate in this race, not only who's already done those things, but has a plan to do it again.
Kamala Harris earlier this week said we owe it to American voters to have another debate. Donald Trump has shut that down. What do you say? As if you posted a tweet last month about a vice presidential debate, and you also said that Americans deserve another debate. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, look, I think it's important to debate. Obviously, the president, Kamala Harris, already had a debate, and Fox News, I believe, has offered to host the debate, which Kamala Harris refuses to do. So when she says she wants to do another debate, there's a little bit of smoke and mirrors there. What she's actually saying is she wants to do another debate so long as it's with a friendly media outlet, when Donald Trump has given dozens of interviews with friendly media, but also with hostile media. I think if you want to be the people's president, you ought to get out there and try to earn every vote. That's why we talk to as many reporters. That's why we talk to as many people. It's a little bit rich for Kamala Harris to hide in the basement and say she wants to get out there and talk to people. Nothing is stopping her. So I think she should do that. I think Donald Trump has already been doing that, and we're going to keep on doing that through the finish line. But one thing I'll say about this is, if you think about the way that Kamala Harris has run this campaign, she's done it in a way where she's hiding from the American voters. She's given now one local media interview, one national media interview, and one debate in 45 days of being the Democratic Party nominee. If you can't get out there and talk to people, whether they're hostile or friendly media, how can we possibly expect you to represent us at the world stage in private meetings with world leaders? The answer is we can't. I just think Kamala Harris isn't up to the job. That's why she's hiding from her own voters. Thank you guys. See ya.